Strength and vulnerability often seem to be at odds with one another. As you were growing up, you may have learned that you've got to be strong. Don't show your weaknesses. Then again, you may have learned that making yourself weak is a way to gain acceptance. What I want to know is it possible to have both strength and vulnerability? Hello, I'm Shanti Garber and welcome to NVC Life Hacks. I grew up in what I now assess to be a very competitive family, and I joined in enthusiastically. I learnt that you've got to be strong to win. Always appear confident, intelligent, and in command of the situation. The downside is that only winning is fun. Losing is miserable, it's painful, it's a mug's game. It makes learning miserable because in order to learn, you have to acknowledge, however briefly, that you don't know or you don't yet have the skills that you need. Strength without vulnerability becomes armour. Armour protects, but it also prevents connection. I've come to realise that this definition of strength is trying to meet needs for empowerment, mastery, contributing to life, and flourishing in a more general way. Let me explain. From an NVC perspective, being strong is not a need, it's a strategy. The needs underneath might be empowerment, dignity, contribution, effectiveness, or even safety. When we confuse the strategy with the need, we tend to become rigid. We think, I must be strong, instead of asking, what need am I trying to meet right now? There's nothing wrong with power in itself. From an NVC perspective, power is simply access to resources, physical, psychological, emotional, cognitive, even spiritual resources. I value the distinction between power with and power over. Power with is using that access to resources in ways that respect the needs of the people around you. Power over is using your access to resources in ways that don't respect the needs, for instance, safety, dignity of the people around you. Being strong is attempting to meet a need for mastery. Human beings and animals love to master whatever activity they're engaged in. Just think of how much time athletes spend training for their sport or for the Olympics. It's not just athletes. When we take money off the table, three intrinsic motivators are left on the table: autonomy, mastery, and a sense of purpose. Just think of the satisfaction in learning the guitar or tending a garden with heavy soil. Being strong is attempting to meet needs for contributing to life and flourishing, individually, collectively, and in relation to the whole. At times, we need to show our strength, to stand up for ourselves, for each other, and for the earth as a whole. As a child, I learned the dictionary definition of vulnerability: the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. I grew up with a fear of failure, a fear of making mistakes, a fear of making a fool of myself. I learned, as I said, don't show your weaknesses. I learned to identify my weaknesses and practice to eradicate them. I learned to identify my opponent's weaknesses and to play on them. I learned that feelings were girly. If you have feelings, don't show them because other people will use them as a stick to beat you with. Don't play games where you know that you're going to lose. That's a loser's game. In nonviolent communication, vulnerability is not self-abandonment. It is conscious self-revelation in the service of connection. Brené Brown, the psychological researcher, defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. What her research shows is not that vulnerable people are weak, but that wholehearted people are willing to take relational risks because connection matters more than protection. Now, vulnerability doesn't just play out in the sphere of connection and relationships, it also plays out in other areas. It allows awareness and acknowledgement that when you are learning something, you may make mistakes. It sees making mistakes as part of the learning journey. So it supports comfort, ease, wholeheartedness, and acceptance as you embark on your learning journey. It supports curiosity, your desire to learn as the most precious resource at your disposal. It supports playfulness and joie de vivre. Now you can enjoy the ride. It supports a process orientation or a growth mindset rather than an outcome orientation, which is fixating on the goal or the outcome. It allows you to go for the connection, hanging loose to the outcome. It allows you to think and say, humorously, if it's worth doing imperfectly. When we explore the needs underneath both strength and vulnerability, we can start to see how both are important to us and to all human beings. Strength is staying connected to your needs. Vulnerability is being willing to reveal them. We can take a moment to value both, to bring both towards our heart without judging between them. We can rest in the knowledge that both are important to us. We can honor both. Here are some ideas. Imagine that you're in a meeting with someone and they challenge your idea, your beautiful idea. So instead of doubling down, interrupting, arguing harder, you just pause and say, I'm feeling a bit anxious because I really care about this project. Could you say more about your concern? That's strength and vulnerability together. We can read books or watch movies that feature strength and vulnerability and fellowship. We can read romantic poetry, which delights in both challenge and vulnerable expression. We can learn a new skill or language as a way to connect with people. We can cultivate a growth mindset, staying with the process and staying open to the outcome. We can start making kimchi to remind ourselves that growth and health, like fermentation, take time and attention. And we can take time at the end of each day to express our gratitude for the needs met during the day and mourning unmet needs when life hasn't gone the way that we were hoping for. We can throw ourselves wholeheartedly into whatever activity we choose. We can remember that real strength is not the absence of vulnerability, rather it is the capacity to stay open. Here's a simple practice. The next time you notice feeling anxious about losing something, pause and ask yourself 2 questions. What need of mine is at stake, is at play right now? And am I willing to let the other person see that? That's it for now. If you liked this, you can subscribe to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our Instagram channel. You can join our mailing list, or you can join us at one of our events. Bye for now.